Marcus Kellen was the kind of guy who lived on energy drinks and leftover pizza. His apartment smelled like defeat and stale socks, but his gaming setup? That was a masterpiece. 3 monitors, custom mechanical keyboard, and a chair that had molded itself to his body over countless hours of digital warfare. All right, let's see what this new military sim can do, he muttered, cracking his knuckles. The game was called Project Valor, and according to the forums, it was so realistic that beta testers were getting PTSD. Marcus had laughed at that. Bunch of weaklings who couldn't handle pixels that he loaded up the character creation screen and was immediately impressed. The detail was insane. Every scar, every piece of equipment looked photorealistic. He selected a soldier named Jake Morrison, tall, square-jawed, the kind of hero who belonged on a recruitment poster. Time to show these alien bastards what humanity's made of. Marcus grinned, settling into his chair. The game dropped him into a battlefield that made his breath catch. This wasn't just good graphics, this was something else entirely. Smoke drifted across broken terrain, and the sound design was so perfect he could almost smell the gunpowder. In the distance, strange creatures moved with predatory grace, their elongated limbs and chitinous armor gleaming in the artificial light of whatever world this was supposed to be. Holy shit, Marcus whispered, watching his character's hands shake slightly. Even the fear response was programmed in. This was next level. Through his headset, he heard Jake's voice, gravelly and tired. "Command, this is Morrison. I'm in position, but I'm seeing at least 20 hostiles moving through Sector 7. These things, they're not like anything in the briefings." Marcus frowned. He hadn't pressed any communication button. Must be part of the tutorial. The AI was incredibly sophisticated, though. Jake sounded genuinely scared. "Copy that, Morrison. You're clear to engage at your discretion. Remember, these Kethari bastards don't take prisoners." The radio crackled with static, and Marcus felt his pulse quicken. The immersion was incredible. He could feel Jake's heart hammering through the controller's vibration feedback. Through the scope of his rifle, Marcus watched the aliens move. They were like nothing he'd ever seen in a game before. Tall, insectoid, with 4 arms that ended in claws capable of rending steel. Their heads were elongated, crowned with sensory organs that twitched and flicked at every sound. One of them turned, and Marcus saw its eyes, compound, multifaceted, and utterly alien. "Jesus," Jake's voice whispered through the headset. "They're looking right at me." Marcus hadn't made Jake speak. The AI was talking on its own, reacting to the situation. This was beyond anything he'd experienced. He aimed carefully and pulled the trigger. The shot rang out, and one of the aliens dropped. Immediately, the others began shrieking, a sound that made Marcus's skin crawl. They moved with terrifying speed, bounding across the broken landscape like nightmarish spiders. "Morrison, you are blown. Fall back to checkpoint Bravo." But Marcus was already moving, his fingers dancing across the keyboard. Jake sprinted through the ruins of what looked like a human settlement. Burned-out cars, collapsed buildings, bodies scattered like broken dolls. The detail was stomach-churning. "How many of them are there?" Jake gasped as he dove behind a concrete barrier. Marcus could hear his character's labored breathing, could feel the desperation in every movement. More aliens appeared, flanking from both sides. Marcus's heart was racing now, his palms sweaty on the controller. This felt too real, too immediate. He'd played thousands of games, but nothing had ever made him feel like this. He guided Jake through a running firefight, ducking and weaving between cover. The aliens moved with inhuman coordination, communicating in clicking, chittering sounds that made Marcus's skin crawl. Every shot had to count. Every movement had to be perfect. "I'm running low on ammo," Jake panted. "Command, I need immediate extraction." "Negative, Morrison. You are on your own. Hold position and wait for backup." "Backup?" Jake's voice cracked. "There is no backup. Half the squad is dead, and the other half is pinned down 3 clicks east." Marcus paused, his fingers hovering over the keyboard. Jake was having a conversation he wasn't controlling. The AI was arguing with command, showing genuine emotion, genuine fear. This was beyond sophisticated programming that a movement caught his eye. Through Jake's scope, he saw something that made his blood run cold. A group of aliens was herding human civilians into a clearing. Men, women, children, all terrified, all helpless. "Oh God," Jake whispered. "They have got civilians." Marcus watched in horror as one of the aliens raised what looked like a ceremonial blade. The humans were crying, begging in languages he didn't recognize. This was supposed to be a game, but it felt like watching a snuff film. "I can't let this happen," Jake said, his voice hardening with resolve. "I won't let this happen." Marcus found himself nodding, his finger tightening on the trigger. This wasn't about the game anymore. These people, even if they were just pixels, deserved better. He opened fire. The first shot took down the alien with the blade. The second scattered the group. But Marcus knew he'd just signed Jake's death warrant. There were too many of them, and Jake was just one man. "Morrison, what the hell are you doing? You are supposed to maintain position." "Screw the position," Jake snarled, reloading his rifle. "I'm not letting these monsters butcher innocent people." Marcus guided Jake down into the clearing, his character moving with deadly precision. The aliens were regrouping, their shrieks echoing across the wasteland. But the civilians were free, running for whatever cover they could find. "Thank you," one of them sobbed as they ran past. "Thank you, soldier." Marcus felt something twist in his chest. The gratitude in that voice was too real, too genuine. This was just a game, wasn't it? Just really good programming. But as Jake fought his way through wave after wave of Cathari warriors, Marcus began to notice things. The way Jake's hand shook when he reloaded. The way his breathing changed when he was scared. The way he talked to himself when he thought no one was listening. "Come on, Jake," Marcus muttered, guiding his character through another firefight. "We can do this." And then Jake answered him. "Marcus? Is that you?" Marcus's blood turned to ice. He jerked his hands away from the keyboard like it had shocked him. Jake was standing perfectly still on the screen, looking around with confusion. I can't hear you," Jake said, his voice barely above a whisper. "There's someone else here. Someone helping me." Marcus stared at the screen, his mouth dry. This wasn't possible. This was just a game. Just code and pixels and carefully programmed responses. "Who are you?" Jake asked, and Marcus could hear the fear in his voice. "Are you one of them? Are you in my head?" Marcus started, then stopped. How do you explain to someone that they are just a character in a video game? How do you tell someone that their entire reality is just entertainment? "You are not real," Marcus whispered, but even as he said it, he knew it was a lie. Jake was real. The pain in his voice, the fear, the desperate courage, it was all real. "Not real." Jake laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Tell that to the bullet wound in my shoulder. Tell that to the friends I have watched die. Tell that to the families I'm trying to save." Marcus looked at his monitors, really looked at them. The graphics were too good. The AI was too sophisticated. The physics were too perfect. This wasn't a game. This was a window. "Oh God," Marcus breathed. "What have I done?" On the screen, Jake was surrounded. Dozens of Cathari warriors were closing in, their claws gleaming in the alien light. But Jake wasn't running. He was standing his ground, his rifle ready. "I don't know who you are," Jake said, his voice steady despite the impossible odds. "But if you're really there, if you can really help me, these people need to get out. There's an evacuation point 2 clicks north. Can you help me get them there?" Marcus stared at the screen, his hands trembling. If this was real, if Jake was really a soldier in a real war, then every decision Marcus made could mean life or death for actual people. "I will help you," Marcus said, his voice barely audible. "I will help you save them." Jake nodded, and for the first time since the game began, he smiled. "Then let's show these alien bastards what humans are made of." The Cathari charged, their shrieks echoing across the wasteland. But Jake was ready. With Marcus guiding him, he was faster, stronger, more precise than any human had a right to be. They moved as one, man and machine, soldier and guardian angel. The battle was brutal. The Cathari were fierce, intelligent, and utterly ruthless. But they had never faced anything like Jake Morrison with Marcus Kellen at his back. Every shot found its mark. Every movement was perfect. Every decision was exactly right. As the last of the aliens fell, Jake looked up at the sky, his face streaked with dirt and blood. "I don't understand how this is possible," he said quietly. "But I'm glad you are here, Marcus. These people, they deserve to live." Marcus nodded, even though Jake couldn't see him. "We will get them out. All of them." But as they began moving toward the evacuation point, Marcus saw something that made his blood run cold. In the distance, more Kethari were coming. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands. The real war was just beginning. And somewhere in a cramped apartment filled with the smell of defeat and stale socks, a gamer realized that he wasn't playing a game anymore. He was fighting for the future of humanity itself. 3 hours had passed since Marcus discovered the truth. 3 hours of non-stop combat. 3 hours of watching Jake Morrison transform from a frightened soldier into something approaching legend. The evacuation point was still a kilometer away, and the Kethari were multiplying like a plague. "Talk to me, Marcus," Jake whispered as he crouched behind the twisted remains of what used to be a transport vehicle. "These things are using tactics I have never seen before. It's like they're learning from our moves in real time." Marcus studied the alien formations through Jake's scope. The Kethari had stopped their mindless charging. Now, they moved with surgical precision, setting up crossfires and ambush points with military efficiency that made his spine crawl. They are not just animals, Marcus realized aloud. They're soldiers, professional ones. Great, professional alien soldiers with a grudge against humanity. Jake checked his ammunition count. 43 rounds left. Any brilliant gaming strategies for the situation? Marcus almost laughed. Gaming strategies. If only it were that simple. In games, ammunition was infinite, health regenerated, and death was just a minor inconvenience. Here, every bullet mattered. Every wound bled real blood, and death would mean Jake Morrison ceased to exist forever. "Wait," Marcus said, spotting something through the thermal imaging. "There, behind the rubble at 2 o'clock. That one's different." Jake swung his rifle toward the indicated position. Among the regular Kethari warriors stood a creature unlike the others. Taller, more heavily armored, with bioluminescent patches that pulsed in complex patterns. The other aliens deferred to it, following its gestured commands. "A commander," Jake breathed. "Take out the head. Maybe the body stops working. Or maybe it just makes them angrier," Marcus countered. "But we don't have much choice." The shot was impossible. 800 meters, crosswind, through smoke and debris. Jake's hands were shaking from exhaustion and adrenaline. No human could make that shot under these conditions. But Jake Morrison wasn't just human anymore. He had Marcus Kellen's reflexes, Marcus's pattern recognition, Marcus's ability to calculate trajectory and wind compensation in milliseconds. The fusion of human intuition and digital precision made them something new, something dangerous. Jake squeezed the trigger. The Kethari commander's head exploded in a spray of alien ichor. For a moment, the entire battlefield fell silent. Then the surviving aliens began shrieking in unison, a sound that made nearby glass shatter. "Well," Jake said, reloading with practiced efficiency, "they are definitely angrier." The Kethari charged en masse, abandoning all pretense of tactics. Pure rage drove them forward in a wave of claws and chittering fury. Marcus guided Jake through the chaos, using every trick he'd learned from decades of gaming. Cover-to-cover movement, ammunition conservation, priority targeting. Skills that had been meaningless entertainment yesterday were now the difference between life and death. But they were still outnumbered 50-1. "Marcus," Jake gasped as he dove behind a concrete barrier. "I need you to know something. If we don't make it out of this, if this is where Jake Morrison's story ends, I want you to know it's been an honor fighting alongside you." "Don't talk like that," Marcus snapped, but his voice cracked. "We're getting those people out. All of them. Look around, man. I'm one soldier with barely enough ammo for a decent last stand. Those civilians have children, families. They deserve better than dying because one grunt couldn't do his job." Marcus stared at his screen, watching Jake's vital signs spike with stress and exhaustion. The soldier's health bar, something Marcus had never noticed in other games, was flickering between yellow and red. Jake was dying by inches, pushing his body beyond human limits. There has to be another way, Marcus muttered, scanning the battlefield through every camera angle he could access. There's always another way. That's when he saw it. A Kethari heavy weapons platform, abandoned when its crew had joined the final charge. The alien technology was sleek, deadly, and completely operational. Jake, northeast position, behind the crashed dropship. There's a weapon system we can use. That's Kethari tech. I don't know how to operate alien weapons. But I do, Marcus said, suddenly understanding. I have studied their design patterns, their interface logic. In games, alien tech always follows certain principles. Intuitive controls, biometric locks that can be bypassed, power systems that respond to electrical stimulus. Jake sprinted toward the weapon platform, bullets and plasma bolts searing the air around him. The Kethari were closing fast, their shrieks growing louder with each passing second. The alien device was beautiful in its lethality. Organic curves merged with mechanical precision, creating something that looked grown rather than built. Strange symbols pulsed along its surface, but Marcus recognized the underlying pattern. Command interfaces were universal, whether human or alien. Put your hand on the central panel, Marcus instructed. The biometric scanner should recognize human neural activity and attempt basic compatibility. Jake pressed his palm against the alien surface. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the weapon platform came alive, its systems humming with lethal energy. Targeting displays activated, showing the approaching Kethari horde in perfect detail. Holy shit, Jake whispered. It's like the thing is reading my mind. It is, Marcus said grimly. That's how their technology works. Neural integration. The weapon becomes part of you. Jake aimed the device at the charging aliens and fired. The beam that emerged wasn't just energy, it was concentrated destruction. Where it touched, Kethari warriors simply ceased to exist, reduced to their component atoms in milliseconds. The survivors scattered, their rage replaced by something resembling fear. For the first time since the battle began, they retreated. Now, Marcus said urgently, while they are regrouping, get to the civilians. Jake abandoned the weapon platform and ran toward the evacuation point. The survivors were huddled in the ruins of what had once been a school. 53 humans, ranging from elderly couples to infants still in their mother's arms. They looked at Jake with expressions of desperate hope and barely contained terror. We are getting you out of here, Jake announced, his voice carrying an authority that surprised even Marcus. Stay close, stay quiet, and do exactly what I tell you. An old man stepped forward, his clothes torn and bloody. The transport ships, they left hours ago. There's no way off this world. Then we make our own way, Jake replied. Marcus, any ideas? Marcus scanned the area through Jake's enhanced vision. Military training and gaming instincts merged into something approaching tactical genius. There, 2 clicks west. Emergency beacon. If we can reach it and activate the signal, orbital command will have to respond. That's through the heart of Kethari territory, Jake said quietly. I know. The march began in silence. 53 civilians and 1 impossibly skilled soldier moving through a landscape that looked like hell's own backyard. Marcus guided Jake through paths that avoided the worst concentrations of enemies, using every stealth technique he'd learned from countless infiltration games. But the Kethari were hunting them now. Their retreat had been tactical, not defeat. They moved in the shadows, patient and predatory, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. It came when they were halfway to the beacon. The attack erupted from 3 directions simultaneously. Kethari warriors emerged from concealment with disciplined precision, their weapons trained on the group of terrified humans. But they didn't fire immediately. Instead, their leader stepped forward. This one was different from the others. Smaller, more delicate, with sensory organs that sparkled with bioluminescent intelligence. When it spoke, the words were in perfect, unaccented English. Human soldier, you fight with skills beyond your species' capabilities. You use our weapons as if born to them. You are not entirely human anymore, are you? Jake raised his rifle, but Marcus stopped him. Wait, let's talk. My name is SEK the Learned. I study human behavior, human tactics, human potential. You interest me, Jake Morrison. You and your invisible companion. Marcus felt ice water flow through his veins. The alien knew about him. What do you want? Jake asked. To understand, your species was supposed to be extinct within a solar rotation. Weak, divided, technologically inferior. Yet here you stand, one human holding back an army. This should not be possible. Humans are full of surprises, Jake said grimly. Indeed, but you are not merely human, are you? There's another presence, another intelligence guiding your actions. I can sense it like a whisper in the quantum field. SEK eyes focused on something beyond Jake, something only it could perceive. Marcus Kellen, can you hear me? The words hit like a physical blow. Marcus stared at his screen, watching an alien creature look directly into his camera with impossible awareness. How? Marcus whispered. Your neural link creates quantum entanglement across vast distances. We have been monitoring these transmissions, trying to understand their source. You're not on this world, are you, Marcus Kellen? You exist elsewhere, in a place of safety, controlling this soldier like a remote puppet. It's not like that, Marcus said, though he knew the alien couldn't hear him, but Jake heard. Jake had been hearing him all along. He's not controlling me, Jake said firmly. We are partners. He guides, I choose. He suggests, I decide. Without him, those people would be dead. Without me, he'd just be another gamer in another chair. SEK tilted its head with something approaching respect. Fascinating. Two minds, two species working in perfect harmony. You have become something new, something unprecedented. Are you going to kill us or what? Jake asked impatiently. That depends. Your companion claims to come from another world, another dimension perhaps. If this is true, then humanity possesses technology beyond our understanding. Technology we require. What are you talking about? The Kethari are dying, Jake Morrison. Our homeworld is dead, consumed by our own hunger for expansion. We came to your galaxy seeking new worlds, new resources. But your species has shown us something we never expected. Unity, sacrifice, the willingness to die for strangers. Marcus felt something shift in his understanding. They are not invaders. They are refugees. Jake's eyes widened as he processed this revelation. You are running from something, from ourselves, from what we became in our desperation to survive. Your companion's technology, this quantum link that connects minds across impossible distances, could save both our species. We could learn from each other instead of destroying each other. The standoff continued for long moments. 53 terrified humans waited for their fate to be decided by forces beyond their comprehension. An alien scholar requested salvation from the very species it had been trying to exterminate. A soldier and a gamer faced the choice between vengeance and understanding. Finally, Jake lowered his weapon. If we help you, he said slowly, you let these people go. All of them. And you stop the attacks on human colonies. Agreed. But first, we must understand how this connection functions. Your Marcus Kellen must reveal the source of his technology. Marcus stared at his setup, at the cables and processors and quantum field generators he'd always assumed were just high-end gaming equipment. Project Valor hadn't been a game at all. It had been a desperate attempt by future humans to send help back through time, to guide their ancestors through humanity's darkest hour. Jake, Marcus said quietly, I think I know what's happening here, and I think we are about to change everything. The soldier nodded, trusting in the voice that had guided him through impossible battles. Around them, Kethari warriors lowered their weapons. Above them, the alien stars began to seem less hostile and more hopeful. The war was ending, but the Real story was just beginning. Two species, linked by quantum impossibility and guided by the courage to trust strangers, were about to rewrite the rules of existence itself. Marcus Kellen, gamer and guardian angel, smiled for the first time in hours. Sometimes the best games were the ones where everybody wins. But the universe, as Marcus was about to learn, had other plans. The quantum link that connected him to Jake suddenly exploded with new signals. Dozens of them. Hundreds. All across the galaxy. Other gamers were discovering that their simulations were real. Other soldiers were hearing voices from across space and time. The network that had been established to save humanity was activating on a massive scale. Marcus, Jake said urgently, his enhanced hearing picking up alien communications. SCI-FI's people are receiving reports from across their territory. This isn't just happening here. It's happening everywhere. Through Jake's enhanced vision, Marcus watched as SCI-FI's sensory organs flared with bioluminescent alarm. The alien scholar was processing data streams from across the Cathari Empire, and what it was learning clearly terrified it. Impossible sector visperiet. The quantum resonance is amplifying. Your technology is not just connecting individual minds, it is creating a collective consciousness. Thousands of human soldiers, thousands of guiding spirits, all linked through the same network. Marcus felt it then, like whispers at the edge of his awareness. Other voices, other gamers, all discovering the same impossible truth he had. A kid named Tommy in Detroit was guiding a Marine through urban warfare on Proxima Station. A college student named Lisa in Tokyo was helping a pilot navigate through an asteroid field under heavy fire. An elderly man named Robert in London was coordinating orbital bombardments that were saving entire cities. We are not alone anymore, Marcus breathed, but with the expanding network came danger. The Cathari were not a monolithic species, Marcus realized. SCI-FI represented the scholarly faction, the ones seeking understanding. But there were others, military hardliners who saw this new development as the ultimate threat to their survival. Commander Vaction approaches, SCI-FI announced, its patterns shifting to urgent warning colors. He leads the extinction fleet. If he discovers what you truly are, what this network represents, he will not seek understanding. He will seek annihilation. Through the quantum link, Marcus sensed other connections going dark. One by one, gamers across Earth were losing contact with their soldiers. Not through death, but through deliberate interference. Someone or something was jamming the network. Jake, we need to get these people to safety now, Marcus said, and we need to find a way to contact Earth. If the Cathari military faction decides to trace our quantum signals back to their source, they will find Earth, Jake finished grimly. And Earth has no idea what's coming. The evacuation beacon was still a kilometer away, but Jake could see Cathari forces converging from multiple directions. These weren't SCI-FI's scholarly warriors. These were different, larger, more heavily armed, with military precision that spoke of professional genocide. SCI-FI, Jake said, can your people help us reach that beacon? My authority extends only to my research units. Commander Vaction has overruled my diplomatic immunity. You are now classified as Priority 1 extinction targets. A new voice crackled through Jake's comm system, speaking in heavily accented English. Human soldier, this is Commander Vaction of the Cathari Extinction Fleet. You and your quantum puppet master have been identified as existential threats to our species' survival. Surrender now, and your civilians will be processed quickly. Processed, Jake snarled. Biological matter reclamation. They will become nutrients for our war effort. Their deaths will serve the greater good of Cathari expansion. Marcus felt rage like he'd never experienced before. These weren't desperate refugees anymore. These were monsters wearing the faces of victims. Through the quantum link, he could sense other gamers experiencing the same fury, the same determination to protect innocent lives. Jake, Marcus said, his voice deadly calm. Remember what I said about gaming strategies? Sometimes the best strategy is to break the game entirely. Jake's lips curved into a predatory smile. I'm listening. The quantum network isn't just connecting us to you. It's connecting us to each other. Every gamer, every soldier, all linked through the same impossible technology. What if we stop playing by their rules? Through his connection, Marcus reached out to the other nodes in the network. Tommy in Detroit, coordinating urban warfare. Lisa in Tokyo, managing fleet operations. Robert in London, directing orbital strikes. Dozens of others, each fighting their own desperate battles. Guys, Marcus broadcast across the quantum link. This is Marcus. I know this sounds crazy, but we need to work together. Not just with our soldiers, but with each other. If we can coordinate our efforts across multiple battlefields simultaneously, we become a hive mind, Lisa's voice whispered across the link. One intelligence, controlling multiple bodies across space and time. That's exactly what we become, Marcus confirmed. Question is, can we handle it? The answer came from an unexpected source. Jake's enhanced hearing picked up a new transmission, this one from Earth. From Marcus's own apartment, in fact. Marcus. The voice was his own, but older, more tired. This is Marcus Kellen, calling from the year 2157. If you're receiving this, then the temporal salvation protocol has successfully activated. The quantum gaming network you are using was designed by me, by us, to send help back through time. The Kethari invasion of Earth happens in 18 hours from your current timeline. Everything you are doing right now is preventing our extinction. Marcus stared at his screen, watching Jake's face reflect his own shock. I'm talking to myself? From the future. Not just you. All of us. Every gamer in the network is receiving guidance from their future selves. We know how this war ends, Marcus. We know because we lived through it. And we know that you, right now, in this moment, are about to make the decision that saves both species. What decision? Marcus asked. You are going to trust SCI-FI. You're going to share our quantum technology with the Kethari scholars. And you're going to help them overthrow their own military faction. Jake looked up at the sky, as if he could see Marcus across the impossible distance that separated them. A civil war. You want us to start a civil war among the aliens. Not start one. The future Marcus corrected. And one. The Kethari have been fighting themselves for generations. The scholars versus the military. Knowledge versus conquest. SCI-FI's faction has been losing because they lack the tools to fight effectively. But with our quantum network, with our ability to coordinate across space and time, we give them the advantage they need, Marcus breathed. We help the good aliens defeat the bad aliens. And in return, they help us evacuate Earth's population to safer worlds. Both species survive, both species thrive. The future we are calling from is one where humans and Kethari work together to explore the galaxy. Jake turned to SCI-FI, who had been listening to the entire conversation with growing amazement. Your people have been fighting this war for how long? 300 cycles, SCI-FI replied. The military caste believes survival requires conquest. The scholar caste believes survival requires understanding. We have been losing because we refuse to match their brutality. But now you don't have to, Jake said. Now you have something they don't. Human stubbornness, human creativity, and human refusal to give up when the odds are impossible. Through the quantum link, Marcus felt the network expanding again. Not just gamers and soldiers now, but Kethari scholars, each one paired with a human partner. The fusion of human intuition and alien logic was creating something unprecedented, something beautiful. Vaction's forces are moving, SCI-FI announced. We have minutes before they reach the civilian position. Then let's give them a fight they will never forget, Jake said, raising his rifle. But this time he wasn't alone. Through the quantum link, he had access to tactical data from dozens of other battles, strategic advice from future commanders, and the combined combat experience of every gamer in the network. The battle that followed would be remembered across both species as the moment everything changed. Not because of its scale or its brutality, but because of what it represented. Cooperation instead of conquest. Understanding instead of extinction. Hope instead of despair. Commander Vaction's extinction fleet found themselves facing an enemy unlike anything they had encountered before. Human soldiers who moved with inhuman precision, guided by invisible partners who could predict their every move. Kethari scholars who fought with newfound courage, supported by alien voices that whispered tactics and encouragement across the void. The quantum network that had started as a gaming platform had become something miraculous. A bridge between species, between times, between realities. And at its center, a gamer named Marcus Kellen who had discovered that sometimes the most important battles are fought not with weapons, but with words, trust, and the simple belief that former enemies can become future friends. The war was ending, but the future it would create was just beginning.